Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 2. Today we have got two big games in terms of the relegation battle. We're playing against Bolton and Peterborough in League One. Hello, hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty well myself. Hope you've all had a good week so far. I'm looking forward to if you're in England at least, the long weekend ahead. It's going to be really nice, I think, having 4 days off. I'm excited for it. Now, we have played a lot of games since you were last here for the win against Walsall and the draw against Crewe. Both very, very good results that lifted us off the top of the table and kept us in touch with teams around us in the relegation zone. So that was really good to see. We've played 9 games in between episodes, which is a lot, but I feel like, it was time to get a few games going, get a move on with the season, and try and really fight for survival towards the end of the season. The first 4 games were all 2-1 losses to Hull, Bristol Rovers, Blackburn and Bolton. All 2-1 losses, which was ridiculous really when you think of the scorelines. All those 4 teams, though, were in and around the playoffs when we played them. So, to be fair, we probably didn't deserve to win any of those games at all, based on league positions and things like that. We got very unlucky in the Hull game, for example. Tyrilek's own goal early on, they scored late on as well, so that was unlucky. The Bristol Rovers game, they were all over us, really. We got a consolation goal right at the end. Blackburn, similar sort of story. They were all over us and really, really came into it in the end of the game, but we managed to grab a goal on the counter-attack right at the end through Reece Hilton. And then the Bolton game, a game that I really thought we could go and win. I thought we could get a decent result against them, although they were doing pretty well on the table. I think they might be third in the table at the moment. Either way, I thought we could go there and get a decent result because they're not the best side in the world, to be fair, but they did manage to beat us 2-1. So although those 4 games were losses, and it was a bit disappointing after having 3 really good results in a row and then those 4 losses, we did back it up with a 3-1 win over Notts County, Mark Mason and 2 own goals within the first 15 minutes, making sure we picked up all 3 points in that game. That was really, really good. We then picked up a 2-2 draw against top of the table Millwall. Now that was a bit of a surprise. I expected to lose this one heavily, but we played very, very well, kept ourselves in the game, and managed to pick up a really decent point there, which I was very pleased with. We then went away to Exeter, who were 23rd in the table, and we were 24th at this point. They scored first, and I'm thinking we just couldn't get ourselves back into this game until the final 10 minutes when Dylan Monk scored 2 goals in the 87th minute to pick up a vital 3 points against another side in the relegation zone. We then went away to Middlesbrough, and like when we played them earlier on this season, we beat them 1-0 in a surprise fashion. Wasn't expecting it at all, but we've done a double over Middlesbrough this season, which is really impressive. The only side I think we've actually done a double over at all this season, which is also a really good thing to do. Last time out, though, we played Shrewsbury and were brought back down with a crushing 3-0 defeat, the worst defeat we've had in between episodes. So, on the most part, we've won 3, drawn 1, lost 5, but to be fair, that's not too bad. It has boosted us up the table just a little bit. We are still in the relegation zone. We are 21st in the table, but I think we're only a point outside of the relegation, or outside from safety now. Yeah, only a point away from Mansfield, which is really good to see. We're still quite bad in terms of our goal difference, which isn't great, as you can see, minus 16, the lowest in the league. 2 wins today, though, would put us on to 40 points, and that would leave us only 10 points away from safety. Right now, we're only about 16 points away from safety, I reckon. We said 50 points last episode is what we need. 16 points away from that right now. I think it's still doable. It is, though, starting to narrow down the teams fighting against relegation. I think Coventry and Bradford are probably going to be safe at this stage unless they capitulate. I think it's going to be Wimbledon down, basically. These 7 sides are going to be the real contenders and fighting for relegation. So we need to be on our best form in these next few games. Right, we do have some transfer news as well. As mentioned last episode, Kenise Carroll's gone to Shamrock Rovers for £11,000. And we did predict that Mick Atkinson was probably going to go in the January transfer window on the grounds that 19 clubs were interested in him. Ipswich won the race to sign him. They breached his minimum fee release clause of £190,000. He signed for Ipswich. They've gained £190,000, which is pretty decent, to be fair, I've got to say. It did leave us without a right back, so we have brought in another chap in on loan. If we look down here, Victor Asquo, Victor is basically who we've brought in. He's on loan from Blackburn, another right back, not quite as good as Mick Atkinson, but also he's a very decent player still. So hopefully he'll just see this season out for us and keep us from relegation. So hopefully he'll be okay. Made a few starts for Blackburn in League One this season and last season, and played quite a bit for FC United before that. So he's got experience at this level. Played very well for us so far this season, I've got to say. So fingers crossed he's going to help us get towards survival. Asquo, I think that's how I'm going to say it. Asquo. That seems like a cool name to me. We'll stick with that. He's starting at right back today, despite him picking up a knock in training just before this game, but he should be okay to play. He starts at right back alongside Dan Happy, Porter and Turak, who are defending Jed Andrew in goal. Midfield, again, not really changed. Muggeridge, Nankwo and Hawkins in the middle, with Monk, Mason and Hilton starting up front for us today. Marshall has just come back from an injury, that's why he's not playing today, but he has played very well before his injury, so he should come back into the side pretty soon, but Hilton is doing the business for us at the moment, and I'm pretty pleased with how he's played, so he's staying in the squad for now. Right then, kickoff is upon us here today, away to Bolton. Bolton sitting up in 10th in the table, so they're a decent side, but we have played some very decent sides. We've played Crewe recently, Hull recently, Bristol Rovers recently, Burton recently, Millwall recently, so we have played some top sides, Middlesbrough as well, or up there, Shrewsbury. We have had a bit of a bad run of teams to play against, but the next few games after this one are going to be really, critical games with teams down our end of the table. So we're going to have to play very, very well for the rest of the season now to try and avoid relegation. But compared to other teams, we do have a slightly easier run of fixtures after this Bolton game, for example. Peterborough is well down in 12th, so that's after these two games, we do have a slightly easier run of fixtures, you would say. Right now, though, we do need to focus on getting out of the relegation zone still. Right now, we're level on points with Exeter. They must be drawing, or losing actually right now, because we're drawing to go on the extra point. But they've got better goal difference than us. Rochdale, Southend and Chesterfield still down or dropped down to the relegation zone. Rochdale actually just got out of it. They must have just taken the lead in their game. Southend and Chesterfield are both dropped down recently, I believe. So I think, hopefully, they're going to have a bit of bad form coming into the end of the season. They will get relegated. That gives us a bit more chance to slide ourselves out of that relegation zone as we look to come forward here. Great ball forward to Monk, who puts it in the back of the net for his 5th of the season, assisted by Reece Hilton. Considering that we do have playing a 3-striker system, and none of our strikers have scored more than 10 goals this season, that is a bit of a worry. Mark Mason leads the way with 9 goals, but he's not scored many recently, which is a little bit of a shame. Bolton are coming forward though right now on the ball. They're looking to try and grab a few more goals, or try and get themselves back in the game even with a goal as they approach the edge of our area. The cross comes in and it is put in the back of the net for Aaron Ward's 23rd goal of the season. Now, he looks like a player we might want to try and sign next season if we can even afford him. Bolton, of course, might not even be a football club next season, which is a big shame. It's a massive shame. Any club facing extinction is really, really big shame. Obviously, not pay their players for a long time. They've got a new buyer coming in. I can't remember what his name is now, but I'm sure he's been made bankrupt twice before, which really doesn't bode well for the future of Bolton, I don't think. Either way, they're still in this game at the moment, doing quite well, looking for promotion to the Championship. They're still with a chance of playoffs if they get a win today. Hopefully, though, they won't, because we've played very well today, I've got to say. We've really kept level with them in the stats and things like that. A good second half, and we could grab a winner. Corner for Bolton, the first highlight of the second half, hits the crossbar, and Jed Andrew collects the loose ball. That was a little bit of a worry. We need to try and work on that in training at some point. A few players in midfield not playing, quite a lot of players not playing really well. Mason being one of them, and Hawkins being the other, and Dan Happy as well. Probably should get substituted pretty soon. Nankwo looking quite tired as well. I think that's what we'll do. We'll take Mason off for Marshall. He'll come on the pitch instead as an advance forward. Well, let's make him a pressing forward actually on defend, and let's move. Yeah, let's leave it like that for now. Let's see what that does. Let's give Joe Howell a go, shall we? He's probably overdue a bit of a run out there. He can swap with Muggeridge. Joe Howell, probably a bit unlucky not to play. Well, I say unlucky. He doesn't deserve to play. He's not good enough for League One at all, but we do love him to pieces. And he is a class player. He's always played above his level, doing extremely well above his level. So hopefully today, him and Marshall will combine and try and grab a winner for us late on. Does look like, though, teams around us are doing well. I mean, we're drawing, which is decent, but other teams seem to be winning around us. We have dropped down to 23rd in the table. Corner came in and wasn't looking particularly good, and now there's a race on for this loose ball, which Bolton win. They're through behind. Jed Andrew makes the save, which is superb. If we considered then, that would have been really, really bad. As things stand, though, as it looks like it's going to end 1-1 today, we are on 35 points alongside Mansfield and Exeter, 1 point behind Southend, 1 point behind Rochdale, and 2 points behind Wimbledon. So it really is extremely tight. Oh, we've got 30 seconds after the referee was meant to blow his whistle as well. That is frustrating. Bolton will be loving that, but that could have been an absolutely vital point for us. But no. the referee deciding not to blow his whistle when he should have blown his whistle has cost us a point here today, and that was a point that really could have got us out of the relegation zone, really could have helped us at the end of the season. And that's a devastating blow to the boys out there. They're going to really hurt from that. We've never really had that much bad luck in the Lincoln Loco 2. But this season, perhaps with goals and conceding things like that, maybe it's finally starting to happen. For the most part, though, we did play really well, I think. So coming up against Peterborough next game at home, hopefully it's the same again, and hopefully we get a more positive result at the end of it. I still think we can do it. I still think we can avoid relegation here. We just can't keep consistent form. If we could just pick up, 5 good results in a row, that probably would be enough, I think, to steer us clear of the relegation zone, but we just can't keep that consistency going. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comment section. Are we getting relegated this season? Because, we've not actually, apart from maybe like the first 2 or 3 games of the season, we've not been outside the relegation zone since then. So, if you're going to go on time spent in the relegation zone throughout the whole season, we should really be getting relegated. But after this Peterborough game, I'll show you the fixtures, of course, and we do have a bit of an easier run of games. So hopefully, maybe this will be the time that we finally do pick up those 5 or so good results in a row. On to this Peterborough game then. For the lineup, I think I want to keep it the same, if I'm honest with you. I don't think the backup players that we have this season, which, to be fair, aren't many left now, after a few players have left and a few of them have gone out on loan sort of thing, I don't think it's any better than what we already have in the starting 11. I think actually what we will do is we'll take Hilton off for Marshall, because he is a better striker out there. He's a better player. We'll bring us a pressing forward on support. You can maybe argue that McGinley is better than Turiak, but I just think Turiak's a fantastic player and I really like him. I think he offers a really good attacking threat. So I think I'd like to keep him on the pitch. And I just don't think anyone else is any good, if I'm honest with you, or better than what we've already got. Maybe Howell, obviously, but Muggeridge is a very decent player as well. So Marshall's the only change that we'll make, I think, coming into this game against Peterborough. We just need to shake it up next season and get in some... I think the strike force, despite them not scoring many goals this season, if they did start scoring goals, they would be a really top strike force in this division. I think our midfield needs a bit of work. I think our defence... I think centrally we're okay. Maybe wing-backs need a bit more work, and goalkeeper Jed Andrew, he is good, but perhaps not quite good enough for this level. If we get relegated, I reckon we will have enough quality to go straight back up again. I think we've got a good enough side to do that. If we do stay in this division, I think it's probably going to be more of a case of just whatever's available to us, that's going to be good enough for this level. I don't think a lot of players, like last summer, are going to be wanting to jump on this side, especially if we've just managed to avoid relegation. They'll probably assume that we'll go down this season. So I think it's going to be very hard recruitment-wise over summer. Marshall has apparently picked up a knock, but we should be able to see him through the rest of the match. We'll just monitor it, I think, as the first highlight of the game comes towards us as Hawkins puts the ball out wide to Asuko. Asuko's cross into Monk, nearly paying dividends as Monk puts it just wide of the post. But a promising start to today's game as well, as Peterborough go 1-0 up as soon as I say that. So that's good. But I don't think we play badly. I just think it's just that little lacking quality that our players don't have that other teams do have in this division. And I think luck is also a big part to play. I think we've been unlucky in a lot of games. Like last game, for example, conceding so late on, for things like that. I think we do have a good enough side to stay up. I think we do have a good enough side. I think this side is good enough, actually, to challenge for that sort of mid-table position. I think if we played very well, we could do that. I think some of the results we've had have just been unlucky. I think it should be okay. If we get survival next season, we won't be in a relegation battle, I don't think. Half-time, though, we are 1-0 down. We need to address this. Other teams around us are picking up a few points as well, as you can see. If things stay like this, we will be 3 points behind teams outside the relegation zone, which is never nice. You don't like that at all. That would be an issue because we don't want to get left behind. We have to stay in competition with these sides. We have to stay within 3 points of these sides. Otherwise, it's going to be a really impossible task with 11 or so games to go this season. Muggeridge clears their cross and Monk picks up the loose ball. Can we pick up on some sort of attack here? No, Peterborough tacklers. They're coming back through Harrison now. He puts the ball into Stewart. Puts it just wide the post. Very luckily, we still keep a little bit of a foothold in today's game. What we're going to do is take the injured Marshall off. He's not played very well out there either. So Hilton coming back on for him. Porter, Asuko is having his first bad game for the club, I think. He's usually played pretty well. Turek's looking tired. Let's bring on McGinley for him as well. They're the two changes that we'll make right this second. Again, the 2 losses today aren't very good for our goal difference. It takes us at the moment to the -19, which isn't great at all. We need to be winning some games as Peterborough looking to make our goal difference even worse as they shoot wide. They're having the better of the second half so far, I've got to say. We're going to go on to attacking, I've decided. We're also going to say encourage out there. We've got 25 minutes or so to get ourselves a point at least. We definitely deserve a point from both of these games. We didn't get any in the last game thanks to the referee's willingness to carry on the game. And today, against Peterborough, we have struggled a bit to get into it, but I think we do deserve a point at least. Dan Happy, again, we just give the ball away stupidly twice there. The ball forward to Mason's a good one. Mason to Hilton. Hilton's shot deflected off the post, off the keeper. The keeper collects it. Chesterfield are winning their game, and we have now slumped back down to 24th after being 21st at the start of the episode. We're only 3 points off Rochdale. I counted it was 4 points between 34 and 37. Again, maths has never quite been my strong point. Maybe adding 3 to things is a little bit difficult. I seem to find that issue quite a lot in this game. I think I make those errors quite a lot. Chesterfield are back down though, so they're back down to 32. Mason shot saved by the keeper this time. The final 20 minutes or so, we've really come into this game. Let's go for a final push forward, boys. Cross comes in, it's just gone straight out again. Very attacking. We can grab something at the end of this game. I know we can. We are good enough. Asuko puts it into Mason. Back to Asuko. He puts it into Muggeridge. Wide of the mark. Come on, lads. Just... I really think we can do it. But as the clock ticks down, we've got Porter's free kick. Perhaps one of the final chances of the game as Porter plays it to Muggeridge. Muggeridge under pressure. Plays it back to Jed Andrew, who's now got a chance to show some distribution. Porter on the ball. Muggeridge back to Porter. Come on, lads. McGinley now on the ball. McGinley coming forward. Puts it out to Asuko. Asuko with a chance to deliver across. There's 4 in the box waiting for it. Muggeridge. Asuko. Come on. Deliver the ball. Someone. Muggeridge puts it in the back of the net. In the 90th minute, we have picked up a vital point in today's game. That sort of makes me feel a bit better for the late loss in the last game. But we really did well coming back into that game at the end of the second half. The final 20 minutes were brilliant. I think we probably actually could have squeaked a win there if we'd just been a little bit more clinical. We could have got the win against Peterborough today. Importantly, though, we haven't lost. We're not bottom of the table. We're 23rd. And it's an extra point closer to the teams above us as well. So I'm happy with that result. Right, 11 games to go. 15 points needed, I reckon, which is a very big ask. 35 points in 35 games is not too bad. Well, it's awful, actually, isn't it? 'Cause we're in the relegation zone. But could be worse. Could be a lot worse. Marshall's out for 2 to 3 weeks, which is a bit of an issue, but it's okay. I think we've got Hilton still, so he'll be all right. Next episode, then, is going to be a big one. As I say, we've got a lot of teams down and around us at the moment still coming up. So we've got Rochdale, Leyton Orient, Bradford, Wimbledon, MK Dons, all in the bottom half of the table. Next episode, we're going to have a massive episode against Southend and Chesterfield. That could be pivotal before we move on to Mansfield and Walsall for the final episode of the season. So, going to be a good one next time, Southend and Chesterfield. Huge game in my opinion. Fingers crossed, we get 6 points in that episode. That's the best chance I think we've got all season of picking up 6 points in an episode. Hopefully we do it. So thank you very much for watching today's episode. If you've enjoyed it, please do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And I'll see you next time for some more Lincoln Loco action.